I have been waiting. I have been waiting for a moment, and that moment has unfortunately arrived. And that is the average player base for New World going under 10,000. This is a very unfortunate and an unsavory milestone that we're going to talk about. Long-term followers of the channel will know that I am a New World Andy. I have made many videos talking about New World, and recently, on the main channel at least, I changed the content. And I changed it because of those play numbers right there. But not necessarily the numbers, but why those numbers have come to be. And I have a bit of a confession. I still like New World. It still, for me, offers something that a lot of MMOs don't. That action combat for me is just sensational. And what I did was I put my New World content on a specific New World channel. The idea being that I would have a main for general MMOs, but I still like talking about New World. I still like doing patch breakdowns, opinions, and all that kind of stuff. I'll leave a link to this channel if you're interested. I am still going to play New World, for now at least. Also, I think it's got to be a little bit fair that I explain what this number is. So basically, on Steam charts, this is a rolling average of the last 30 days of the average players of New World. That's an average player. That doesn't mean that that's the total players. Some people get a little bit confused between an average player and then the total players. There's like an industry standard, which I never remember the number, but you can sort of assume that maybe there's like 10 times the amount of average players because, you know, people aren't playing all day, all the time. That doesn't make sense. The average play time might be somewhere like an hour, and then you can imagine how many people it would require before you actually hit an average of 10,000. And of course, you have the peaks and troughs that are just natural because of day and night. So 10,000 average doesn't mean 10,000 players, but we have now hit under 10,000, and that's the first time ever. How did we get here? Well, we all know about New World's launch. The launch of this game was quite popular. Many people played it. I think we had nearly 1 million people all concurrent playing it when it launched. We're all familiar with the issues that we then had. You know, there was no real end game. The leveling was boring. We had dupes and exploits. We had many unfortunate and unsavory things. And then Amazon Game Studios went to work. They tried to actually work on this game. They did several patches, several content additions, and we ended up with a Brimstone Sands patch that, if we're honest, was basically like a free expansion. It had a new zone and like ultimate abilities called Heart Rune abilities. We also had fresh start servers because they started to work on the MSQ. Fast forward a year after Brimstone, we had our first expansion, Rise of the Angry Earth. And for me, this is where the red flag should have been like really flown. The warning signs, boom, boom, should have been ringing at that point. And the reason being is when you have a look at the actual content that was in that expansion, it was quite weak. We had one rework zone, one new endgame dungeon, a level increase. We had the PvP influence races, which was sort of good, but have turned out to be a little bit boring. And we had mounts. Oh, we also had artifacts, which actually I think are quite good. In my opinion, the expansion was deeply lacking on content. In my head, I sort of thought, okay, we can sort of accept a little bit of content reduction because they've been working on system changes, which they had made, and I think were better. But I thought, okay, like, you know, we'll let them off in a way. Like, there's not a lot of content here, but we'll let them off. There are some good system changes, and if we get the next couple of seasons and it's all filled with decent content, you know, the game could be sailing. But that never happened. And I think this very thing has led to the play numbers dropping, and I'm not sure a lot of players are going to forgive them, which is going to be very important for New World. So a lot of the stuff that was actually intended to come in Season 4 quite simply got pushed out to past Season 4. Some of it has come between Season 4 and 5. Some of it is coming in Season 5 when that arrives, even though that's just been delayed. And some of it, we actually have no idea if or when it will arrive. So to just quickly explain which ones haven't turned up, that seasonal trial is in Season 5, but it's not going to have mutators. The seasonal trinket, I don't think that is coming. I can't remember if that MSQ update came or it's in Season 5, but it's near enough. The new expedition did happen. Heart runes they ditched because there's too many of them. Seasonal events, sure. Cross-world arena and expeditions. Well, we got cross-world expeditions in between Season 4 and 5, and cross-world arenas, well, we have no idea when that's coming. Seasonal territory control, that's just disappeared and we don't know what's going on there. Now, it's not a problem that your roadmap includes things that you don't deliver on. The main problem here is that they didn't replace it with anything. What they did is that they moved season 4 out, some of it into season 5, some of it into season never or season whenever. And that's caused a lot of pain in the community. Season 5 is basically some of the stuff that should have been in here. They did release a roadmap that was basically what was coming after season 4, but up until the end of season 5. And really, even on this roadmap, there wasn't much actual content. There was a 10-man trial, which is due, by the way, and I've done it. It's actually sort of fun, but we're going to get onto why it's not really worth it. And that's simply because the progression in New World is truly awful right now. But one of the main issues that the community is having is that they basically told us in May, we're going to get a major announcement and a roadmap. But what actually is happening is that's coming in June, not May, because even that has been delayed. The sentiment in the community right now is, if I'm honest, quite angry. If I go on YouTube and I look at the comments on the latest video, which, let's be fair, YouTube is not known for its quality comments. I love you guys, please comment on my videos, I love you anyway. My comments are not always a cesspool, but some of it is. This isn't a cesspool, this is genuine players just releasing their frustrations. This guy says they're out of touch. I suspect they are trolling us. New content, please. And it goes on, and you can check Twitter, you can check Facebook. Oh, sorry, I said Twitter. You can check X, you can check Facebook. They're all the same. The community is angry. I would have said that you could check Reddit on a post that is pretty much what the basis of this video is. But for some reason, it appears that post has been removed. That comment there just says, a game without soul. Depressing, but probably true. The point is, the players aren't happy, and the players think that they're not happy because of a lack of content. However, I would say that the problems with New World run a little bit deeper than that. Sure, a lack of content is definitely a problem. For example, I think just giving us one rework zone in the expansion and one new endgame dungeon was truly sad. But the bigger issue is simply that there's no reason to play. Sure, there's a lack of content, but bigger than that, there's no real reason to do the content. It's hard to explain the whole game of New World, so I'm not going to do it. But all you need to know is that getting gear in New World is relatively easy. Now, getting the best gear possible ever is actually quite hard, but getting good enough or near enough or almost bis or whatever you want to call it is actually relatively easy. I mean, New World's got many problems. I think one of its problems is the fact that crafting is so strong, and typically in the past you've been able to just sort of like, if you've got gold, craft the best stuff and call it a day. That's sort of been changed, honestly, with artifacts and with named gear. I don't really want to go into it, but just know that the progression is very limited. It's actually quite easy to complete and get sort of into a position where you can compete, which sounds fine, right? It sounds like a really casual, friendly game. The problem is, it's not really giving many people a reason to actually log in and do content. Sure, we don't have raids. Sure, we don't have ranked arena. Sure, we don't have a lot of meaningful, impactful content. But even if there was, there wouldn't necessarily be a reason to do it. Like, if New World literally added a raid and they just added it here in Bloody Restless Shore, if they added a 20-person raid like they did with the Worm, let's not talk about the fact that they're not really using the Worm, but if they did add a 20-person raid and they added some gear, there wouldn't be much reason to do that content. And if there was, it would maybe be like one artifact that once you've got it, you would stop doing it. You would just wouldn't want to do it anymore. So basically there's two main issues with New World, to summarize. There is no content and there is no progression. But why is there no content? When they said there would be content in season 4, why did it get pushed out? That comes back to this roadmap and the gamepad support. In season 5, we are going to be getting controller support. What I don't think it is because Amazon Game Studios have the rights to Lord of the Rings, some people are thinking that they're all just, done with New World and moving to Lord of the Rings. I don't think that's the case just yet. I think they're going to use New World as a sort of testing ground for that Lord of the Rings game. That Lord of the Rings testing ground is going to be relevant because Lord of the Rings is going to be on console. So in season 5, they're adding controller support, and it's heavily rumored, one person doing the rumor mongering is myself, it's heavily rumored and theorized that console is going to be coming either in summer or a little bit beyond that. We don't really know the exact date. Why is console important? Well, they've had to rework the combat to make the game more efficient. That's also coming in season 5. We also believe that they'll do maybe like DirectX 12 or DLSS. That'll come at some point. They're making a lot of technical changes to the core of New World. To do that is requiring effort, time, and, money. But it's coming at the cost of the current player base. We feel like we've got no content, we feel like we have no reason to play, and do you know what that's resulting in? people not playing the game. Pretty simple. It's rumored, by the way, that Virtuoso Games are working on the next expansion. So it's likely, in my opinion, that at the end of this year, we are going to get an expansion. I think probably primarily made by this external company called Virtuoso Games. And I think the Amazon Games devs are the ones working on the actual backing code. Virtuoso Games are known for porting games to console, but I don't think it's quite that which is the issue. Amazon need to fix some of the tech debt that they have. They've got some issues that they just need to work on. First and foremost, it's going to happen with the combat code. Then I suspect there'll be even bigger changes down the line. All of which means the players who are being sacrificed right now are the players who play New World right now. A lot of people are saying it feels like Amazon don't care. Well, they do care. They're just not ready to fix the problem. They are taking this time to slow down and to sort out their back end. Not necessarily because they want New World to succeed, but because they need to test these features. I still believe, somehow miraculously, that this announcement, which is actually coming in June, not May, is going to be actually quite good. I think it's going to be console, and I think console players will actually enjoy the game. And I think it's probably an announcement of an expansion, which has possibly been worked on by an external studio. The end of 2024 could be super exciting for New World fans. The only question is how many actual fans who currently exist will be interested and give them another chance. That's the key question. I'm worried. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's be honest, I've rambled a bit. New World play numbers, they're below an average of 10,000. How much longer will New World keep sustaining itself with a small player base? Well, you might think not very long. However, it's sort of a planned hibernation, a planned downtime. This has happened every year, by the way. Summer has always been lower. The difference here is that the players numbers are so much lower than they've ever been, earlier than they've ever been, and we're not anticipating content for a long time. And a game without content, that, my friends, sort of disappears. However, as I said, it's planned. I think they will give us content in an expansion. I think they will give us controller and console in the foreseeable future. Well, we know controller's coming, but I think console's also coming. But is that going to be enough to save this game? Well, I'll tell you right now, the sentiment for the game is not good. The play numbers are definitely reflecting it. What's both sad and funny is that I actually stream New World pretty much 6 days a week, and I still like the game. The combat, if you like the combat, I still think is really good. It stands out from almost every other MMO. But every day on stream, I get somebody coming in being like, is this game dead? Well, it's not dead, but it's on the way to the hospital. Whether or not it'll be revitalized and resuscitated, that's a question for Amazon. If you like my content, you want to help me out, then do consider becoming a Patreon. That's the best way to do so. For now, have a most beautiful day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.